wanna take you on a ride. We're gonna burn through the night. Why you're so salty? I'll still take a bite.
Okay, we can take my Lambo.
Hello, I'm Nadia Bilchik for Georgia Hollywood Review TV. And my next guest is much more used to being behind the camera. In fact, he's a master at it than in front of the camera. So this must be interesting for the world-renowned photographer, David Rams. So David, first of all, how did you get started? I mean, you are a legend in the photo world. How did you get started?
Growing up in Canada, I had a little girlfriend when I was, I think, 11, and her dad had a darkroom. He introduced me to that, and we built a darkroom in my basement, my dad and I would reprint and print and print and reprint all of my dad's old photographs. And finally he took me aside one day and said, "David, you're gonna have to take your own pictures." So I was like, I don't want to do that. But I originally started taking pictures just to have something to go into the darkroom with.
And when one Googles David Rams, the first thing that comes up is your long career with Playboy. Mm-hmm. And that always intrigues people. I mean, you have shot many naked women, very beautifully. So what was your experience working with Playboy models? And in terms of your Playboy career, is there any one shoot that stands out for you as being particularly memorable? A moment to cover?
Well, for different reasons. You know, there was times when, for different reasons. I have shoots that were revolving around it. There was some drama or something, or some danger that makes me remember it. There's other ones that I remember. A very pretty photograph I took. We had a young lady that came in, and she didn't want to get completely naked. She didn't want to get naked at all, which you don't want to spend much time with her because it is Playboy magazine, but she was exceptionally beautiful. And I said, I've got time at the end of the day after this shoot. We were in Virginia and we were shooting along the edge of a river. And she came and we had probably about half an hour worth of sunlight left. And we quickly went down to the river's edge and she sat down. And I said, "Put some dirt on you." And she put sand and grit on her. And I shot about, this is back before digital, I shot about maybe 20 exposures. And in those 20 exposures, probably one of the best photographs I ever took for Playboy. I was so excited and I sent it in and got reamed because Hef doesn't like girls with dirt on them.
Oh, that's right. Talking about Hef, I know when Hef died, you were interviewed extensively about working at Playboy. Anything come to mind that you want to share with us?
Just when they came to my house, I was going through all the Polaroids of kind of reliving those times. I didn't really have much of a relationship with Hef. You weren't really, as an employee, you weren't really supposed to talk to him. But it was a beautiful time. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about photography, how to work with people.
And you have brought out the best in so many celebrities, from Woody Harrelson to Usher to Jane Seymour. You say that you have to earn the emotional trust of the subject.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I feel like they need to be in front of a friend to let some things go. And you just kind of have to be in a position they need to open up to you and know that you're going to do the best you can.
So when I think of the Woody Harrelson photographs, there's kind of light and a joy. What was that experience like?
The thing that impressed me about him, so we were all there waiting for him, and he pulls up in this little beater car driven by his local assistant. He gets out, he's eating stir fry, he's got a mess on his shirt, and just completely real, just completely. I remember the first time I looked into his eyes, and his eyes were so incredibly vividly blue that I would never have caught that on watching him on movies. His eyes were
But you certainly captured that in the photographs.
I saw his eyes and I said, "Your eyes, I didn't realize they were so blue." And he looked at me and laughed and said, "It's from all the weed." So the thing that impressed me about him is, so I said, let's take some pictures. He picked up some of my bags and he starts forging ahead laughing. And I'm like, "Woody, I've got people to carry those. You don't." He's like, "Nah, come on, let's go."
That humility, and you
And so he
capture
started.
that.
So we start walking, and all of a sudden he throws the, or doesn't throw, he puts my stuff down, and he goes and jumps in the middle of a field of flowers. He's like, let's play here. And so he had fun. He was like not pretentious or any of that. And usually, a lot of times shooting a celebrity, you're given an hour, and after an hour, they're usually like, okay, I'm done. You know.
And the photographs of Usher, there's so much movement in them.
Oh, that's another thing. I think that's an important thing. I try to have fun. With Usher, he thought it was funny, but he was a little irritated, I think. I was having him jump up and down on his couch.
Yes,
or I had him up on his pool table, and he was like, I would normally not allow this. But we had fun doing it. And that's, with my shoots, I try to have fun.
Well, David Rams, your photography certainly reflects that. Now, there are a lot of young people who are watching this going, I look at your work, I admire your work. How do I get into the industry? Because it's increasingly competitive and less work given the digital photography availability.
Yeah.
Any advice or guidance to young David Rams?
Try to find a mentor, someone to watch and to work with, and that would be if I had to go back, that's what, I went to school for it and paid a lot of money in school. Looking back, I didn't really learn much in school. My education came from working with other photographers. I'll tell you one other story where I learned to be a good photographer is when my son was born. He's now 25. I used to follow him around and take pictures of him constantly and put them together in this photo album. And at this big studio I worked at, everybody would look at this photo album. This is back when the photos were in with the little photo corners, and people would look at it and they'd cry, they'd laugh with emotion when they look at my pictures of my son. And then one day I was shooting a cover for, I think it was a Bloomingdale's catalog or something, and it was a picture of a couple with a child, and the art director said, can you take a break for a moment? And I was like, sure. So I said, let's take a 10-minute break, and the art director pulled me aside and said, well, let me ask you a question. And I was like, sure. When you're taking those pictures of your son, what's going through your head? And I thought about it, and I thought, take pictures of my son. Actually, my mind goes completely blank. I said, I don't even, to me, my camera isn't even there anymore. It's just basically me and my son. I don't think technical. The camera's not there. It's just, everything's gone. It's just flowing. And she was like, can you take that idea right now and photograph them like that? And that completely changed the way I take pictures. And I think that's where I really began to grow as a photographer.
It has been a great pleasure.
It was very good.
And if you haven't had a chance to look at David's magnificent work, you are in for a treat. I'm Nadia Belchik. This is Georgia Hollywood Review TV, where we bring you interviews, insights, and just a look behind the scenes of the Georgia film world and remarkable individuals like David Rams.
Stop.